Please be seated.
All right, so in the matter of the people against David Kingsley, the jury having returned verdicts of guilty, Kingsley's bail will hereby be revoked. The matter will be scheduled for sentencing now on December 16th at 9:30 a.m. Between now and then, Kingsley probation will be up to the jail to speak with you, prepare your pre-sentence investigation. I will rely on that in part in determining the appropriate sentence in your case, so we make sure you are cooperative with them. With respect to the remaining defendants who have been acquitted, you're hereby discharged and free to go. So anything from either side? Anything else? Thank you.
Take care.
I respect the jury's verdict. Obviously, the two gentlemen that were acquitted, I felt differently, but I respect the jury's verdict. And now we'll see what the United States Attorney does with them.
You described the three of them as defendants as part of a violent gang, a welcoming committee, and now to see two of them acquitted, one of them, David Kingsley, who was convicted on both of those counts.
Right.
Do you feel some level of justice has been served here?
We went into this case with the idea immediately that 4 people had to be held accountable for Robert's death. All 4 of them will now be serving lengthy prison sentences. That's Mr. Farina, Mr. Kingsley, Mr. Manzalone, and Mr. Gallagher. When we looked at the tape for the first time, those were the individuals. We offered the 2 gentlemen that were acquitted lesser charges. They felt that they were not going to plead to anything. And at this point, they've been successful.
Where do you think your prosecution's case wasn't successful on those 2 defendants? I
have 0 regrets about the prosecution's case. I had an incredible team. State police were fantastic in investigating the case. There's a single thing I could have presented to that jury to make them to make it more clear about the involvement of the 2 defendants. They disagreed, and that's life.
You're looking at 7 out of 10 guilty pleas. I mean, taking a step back, is that satisfying to you?
What I'm most gratified about is the intensity that my team put into the case while, I might say, running a completely separate office west of here. I'm very proud of them, very proud of the state police and the job that they did. But you had two very good lawyers, actually four very good lawyers that represented these two gentlemen, and they worked hard, they worked fairly, they worked ethically, and the jury spoke, and I have zero criticism of the jury's verdict.
Will you appeal?
I would love to, but since 1783, we have been unable to appeal a acquittal. But it's not the end for Mr. Gallagher and Mr. Anzalone, and I don't mean to throw gas on the fire, but the United States Attorney for the Western District is investigating this case, and they will proceed.
What tone does this set for the mid-state COs?
I'm sorry?
What tone does this set now for the mid-state COs?
For the which COs? The
Mid-state.
The Nantweet.
Oh, you're talking about Messiah and Nancy? I don't think it has any effect on that. That's a separate case. Some people may be emboldened by the two acquittals. Some people may feel that with the murder verdict against Mr. Kingsley, they might want to reconsider their position, but that's up to them.
You have an amazing track record of guilty convictions. What does this do for your body of work?
I hope people look at the amount of effort I put into the case and appreciate it, and remind people that, in addition to Mr. Kingsley, we have received substantial pleas on a multiple number of other people. When this case started, I knew a lot of people thought that this would be resolved by a bunch of resignations and official misconducts and probations, and it didn't turn out that way.
Last question for me. What should the prison system take away from what you've learned, what you've discovered?
The governor has had a number of conversations with me. I don't purport to be an expert on penal law, or running a penal system, but there's some things here that are obvious that need to be changed, and she's indicated a willingness, at least to me, to address those, and I think she will.
Do you have one or two?
Well, there's got to be, in my judgment, there needs to be a specialized bureau within the Attorney General's office that deals with all assaults in prison, not just on inmates, but on corrections officers as well.
Thank you, Bill.
Do you think any language in these laws and these charges should change?
There needs to be a specific statute that deals with duty of care regarding a corrections officer. I thought I made it clear in this case that was such an instance.
All right, as you can see there, we have a mixed verdict here. We have one of the corrections officers guilty of murder, the other two found not guilty. Again, David Kingsley is the one who was found guilty of murder and guilty of manslaughter. You have Matthew Gallagher and Nicholas Kieffer found not guilty. We were trying to effort Andrew Donovan, who was in the hallway there waiting for more reaction. That's now pouring out of the courtroom. This verdict came down, I would say, about 15 minutes ago. This was entering its third week, this trial. This was the fourth day of deliberations. And now it looks like some of the defense lawyers are now coming out. Let's check back in.
I'm very appreciative of how the jury was and how they actually took their time to do their job and everything. But I do want to show my remorse for the family. What happened to them was not something that a family should go through. I just am very appreciative of what the jury did and how they were able to deliberate and find me not guilty.
You've had your family here all along. What's that support been like?
That's the most amazing support. Just because they're in the courtroom doesn't mean they're not supporting me. I've got hundreds of people supporting me, and I'm so appreciative of them, and I had to keep my faith this whole time.
What did it feel like being in there as the verdict was being read out?
Well, as you can see, it was a very emotional part of my life, and I just want to get past it now.
What's next for you?
Going home and hugging my family. That's the first thing I'm going to do.
Is this what you were expecting as an outcome?
There was no expectation out of this. It was up to them, and I can't see what's in their minds.
How have you gotten through this?
Supporting my family, that's it. family, friends, and everything else.
Mr. Fitzpatrick mentioned the possibility of federal jeopardy, the Western District. Is this something that they've reached out to either of you about?
I have reached out on behalf of Mr. Kieffer with respect to the potential federal prosecution. I hope that they have paid attention to what this jury had decided. I think the jury spent, a solid 2.5, 3 days deliberating on this matter, and they reached the proper conclusion. Mr. Kieffer has maintained his innocence right from day one, and his story has not changed at all. When I first met with Mr. Kieffer day one, the first thing he said to me is how he feels so terrible for the Brooks family. This is a tragedy. However, Mr. Kieffer did not participate in Mr. Brooks's death.
You got an acquittal without calling a single witness. The defense, all the way through, not calling a single witness. How does that? What do you want us to ascertain from that?
Well, we've maintained all along that the evidence that the special prosecutor had, his whole office was fantastic. They disclosed every ounce of evidence they had. We have been able to scrutinize that evidence very, very closely. And when we reviewed the videos when they were first released to the public, it clearly showed that Mr. Kieffer was not an active participant in this. There was certainly some non-compliance by the late Mr. Brooks. My client acted appropriately under policy and procedure. And then, as we said in our opening and our closing, after that minimum application of pepper spray, there was not one finger laid on Mr. Brooks again. We did enter in and out of that treatment room for seconds, merely seconds, but he did not touch Mr. Brooks at all. He never would have touched me. He wouldn't touch any inmate inappropriately. He's never done that. Everybody has heard the testimony loud and clear of the sergeant, Glenn Trombley, who said in the 10 years that he has worked with Mr. Kieffer, he has never seen Mr. Kieffer get angry. And if there was any application of pepper spray used, there had to be a good reason for it. And I think the jury found that out.
Do you feel judged at all by the public? Has your life been?
Yes, my life was turned upside down from this, 100%.
Members of the public have spoken to you in the store, in life?
Honestly, not really. I've just I don't know how to answer that, to be honest.
Do you have any comment on your peer's verdict of guilty for Mr. Kingsley?
No comment.
No, neither do I. No comment on Mr. Kingsley. I do think that it's a contradictory verdict, given the states of mind that you need for both those charges, but that would be for his attorneys to evaluate.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Do you think the video helped or hurt your case in this situation?
From day one, I've always maintained the position, and as my client, that the videos actually vindicate my client. We are sorry we didn't have the videos from the time Mr. Brooks first arrived at the Marcy Correctional Facility, because then the whole story would have been on video. But the portions of the video that we did receive certainly vindicated my client, and we felt that was a big part of our defense, which is why we went through methodically with the jury, playing all the different segments and sections. Thank you.
What does this case mean for the Corrections Department? The indictment, it alleged a gang conspiracy in a welcoming committee. What does this verdict say about the job of the Corrections Department?
I can't speak for corrections anymore, so.
That is non-existent. That is non-existent in the Marcy Correctional Facility. There is no welcoming committee. As you've heard through the testimony, the COs, they work, the shifts are so different. It's not a Monday through Friday 9-to-5 job. They'll be working 18 hours on a Monday, 18 hours on a Wednesday. They won't work Thursday. They're working 8 hours on a Friday. They're always working with different people. There is no gang mentality. I say that with the utmost respect. As a special prosecutor, obviously laid out a fantastic case. We've been sitting on pins and needles.
Sergeant Trombley seemed to trash some of the system, and I just wonder, from your firsthand knowledge, is there anything you'd change about the system as someone that worked there?
Unfortunately, I don't think my client is in a position where he can change it. I think that's going to start from the top on the way down. I think...
I don't know. Advocacy from the bottom can change things.
It's possible. You're right, and I don't mean to discount that, but I think the powers to be, the higher-ranking politicians, starting from the governor on the way down, have to do a very serious study within the Department of Corrections, and that's where the change is going to have to start, I believe.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much.
Again, that was Nicholas Kieffer, one of the defendants, found not guilty today in Oneida County by a jury. The other former correction officer, Matthew Gallagher, also found not guilty on murder and manslaughter. You're looking at the charges now. The sole defendant that was found guilty, David Kingsley. He's been found guilty of murder and manslaughter. This case, 3 weeks going into the third week. This was the fourth day of deliberations. I would say about 10:15 was the time the jury came back with a verdict. So they took the weekend and they came back this Monday with that mixed verdict. We heard from Bill Fitzpatrick saying he respects what the jury said. We also were told there's going to be perhaps a federal case coming up. So we'll have much more on that. One thing we're going to be on the lookout for. Actually, let's go back out to the courthouse now where another lawyer is now
speaking. Pushed to the brink of bankruptcy. Docs owes him an apology for putting him in this situation, for failing to train, supervise, and provide leadership in that organization. He wouldn't be here without that.
How's he doing with this verdict?
Heading straight home to his family. That's all he cares about.
How has he gotten through this? It's been a tough time, I imagine.
He sucked it up. That's what he did. And he said, I'm going to go through it. In my heart, I know he didn't do anything wrong, and I'll accept whatever verdict comes from the jury.
You did this, you got this acquittal with not calling a single witness. Do you have any comment on just your strategy there and what it's led to?
The case should never have been brought. The video didn't support the charges against him. The witnesses didn't support the charges against him. He should never have been charged with any offenses whatsoever.
Mr. Kieffer said, his lawyer said that the video actually, he believes, vindicated his client. Do you believe the same?
Absolutely. Without the video and the testimony of Trombley and the other Kessler, he could have been convicted.
None of the officers, until their guilty pleas, or we heard from Nicholas Kieffer, have expressed sorrow for the victim. I just wonder what your team would say about Robert Brooks' death.
Robert Brooks' death was caused by officers who lost it. They were undertrained, poorly supervised, and they work in an environment that's terrible. No excuse for what they did. And we have complete sympathy for Mr. Brooks. I'm a civil rights lawyer. That's what I do. I sue docs. And I took this case because of when I saw the video and when I talked to Matt Gallagher.
You said the prosecution charged them all and set it up a jury cleared them out. Do you feel that these verdicts reflect that?
I don't know. All I can say is with Matt Gallagher, he should never have been charged. They should have used their discretion not to charge him.
Does he feel convicted by the public, so to speak? Is the opinions about, is his reputation ruined? Has he suffered from comments from the public these many months?
I'll repeat, he's a man of integrity. He's a man of faith. He knew he didn't do anything wrong, and he was ready to face a jury. He didn't want to, shouldn't have had to, but he was ready to face it.
Say the governor calls you tomorrow looking for an opinion on what docs should change. What are your diagnoses?
I got 2 pages. 2 pages of how they should change, from both the civil rights perspective and from representing Matthew Gallagher.
Are you concerned about action by the Western District of New York and their federal investigation?
We're always concerned about other jurisdictions. We're not going to accept any plea from them. If they reach out to us, if they want to charge them, we'll deal with it. I don't think they should. I'm hopeful that they learn from the sweeping verdict in Matt's favor not to bring any type of criminal charges against Matt.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, guys.
Hang on. Sorry. Does he want us listening to you all day?
No, I
don't think you do. Thank you.
Let's just set up for a shot.
All right. You've been listening to some of the interviews there after the jury's been handed down. That was Matthew Gallagher's lawyer. We did not hear from Mr. Gallagher himself. We did hear from Nicholas Kieffer, the other corrections officer, the other former corrections officer who was found not guilty on the charge they were facing. The only person that was found guilty this morning, David Kingsley. Someone who's been covering this trial, you heard his voice asking some of those questions, has been Andrew Donovan. He joins us now with a wrap-up. Andrew, an historic day, honestly, in Oneida County.
Yeah, Ryan, I'm just kind of making sense of it myself as you saw the verdict and then the flurry of interviews we conducted after we first heard from the Onondaga County District Attorney, who is serving as the special prosecutor, who in some ways failed at his prosecution of 2 of the 3 officers. I think he was very confident that he would get guilty convictions today across the board, as he does mostly in his career. but today a unique situation where a jury has ruled against the prosecution of Bill Fitzpatrick and at least two of the defendants, Nicholas Kieffer, who is facing the most charges of 4, and Matthew Gallagher, who is facing 3 charges. The third officer, David Kingsley, was convicted on murder and manslaughter. So a mixed verdict here, which I think might be a surprise to some people. The jury was very much informed that their responsibility was to go person by person and not group them together in any way. But this case, so much as a story, as a public relations incident, has been grouping these officers together. So for the jury to actually parse apart who did what, who didn't do what, clearly they took their responsibility seriously. I wasn't sure we'd hear from any of these officers. We did hear from Nicholas Kieffer as he left the courtroom, as you heard, very quickly expressing remorse for the Brooks family. Matthew Gallagher, the other officer who was acquitted, left without making any comment, but we did get to just hear from his attorney, who very much puts the blame on the prison and corrections system, saying that the officers who did admit guilt were also victims of a bad system, and that's me paraphrasing, and also Matthew Gallagher's role, even though not criminal as a jury has decided, his role was a result of a lack of training and a lack of systems in place at the Marcy Correctional Facility. A 4th correction officer is scheduled for trial in January. His highest charge is manslaughter, and then you have the entire other case, unrelated, the Mid-State Correction officer's case, many of them accused of the brutal beating of Messiah Nantwi. That happened in March. This Brooks death happened last December. So there are also guilty pleas. So even though 2 people were acquitted today, 1 was found guilty, there's the whole other slew, 6, if my memory serves me, of guilty pleas that have already happened. Officers who were very much involved. The video shows them much more involved. They realized the jury likely wouldn't exonerate them, and so they took guilty pleas. Ryan, I'll be here for a few more minutes if you have any questions, but that's all I am able to rattle off at this point.
Yeah, no, you've done a great job, Andrew, covering the trial. I do have one question, if he's still there. You mentioned, obviously, people who were in the courtroom. Have we heard from the family of Robert Brooks at this point? We know the son has been very vocal. The father had a video released a couple days ago. Is his family in the courtroom? Are they going to speak?
That's a good question. I don't have the answer. I did not notice the Robert Brooks son, Robert Brooks Jr., in the courtroom this morning. He had been there all along. He was there at the end of the day Friday. He has been taking some moments out of the courtroom, understanding how brutal the conversation before him is, seeing some of the videos of his father being killed. I am not sure I've seen him yet today. I'm not sure what we'll hear from him, if we will. I would think this is somewhat of a disappointment. 2 of the officers that had some role in the beating are exonerated of all criminal charges. I would think there is some disappointment on his behalf, but that is almost undercrediting the 7 1 verdict, 6 guilty pleas that have happened. So 7 people have been determined to have a level of criminal guilt all the way up to murder. The guilty pleas, none of them were for murder, but today David Kingsley's verdict by the jury was guilty of murder. So you have 1 person guilty of murder and 6 others of manslaughter all the way down. So to answer your question directly, I don't know about if we'll hear from the family. I'll definitely look for that opportunity in the hours ahead.
All right. We know